Hare Krishna. India Heritage Foundation London extends a very warm welcome to every one of you for today's special celebrations session on Nityananda Prabhu's Advent Day, which is coming up tomorrow, as we call it, as we know it as Nityananda Trayodashi. So let us begin by invoking blessings of Guru and Gauranga. Please join me as I offer these prayers. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please join me as we offer this wonderful bhajan which glorifies Lord Nityananda and is composed by our Purvacharya Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur. नदिया गोद्र में नित्यानंद महाजना पति अचना महट्ट जीवेर कारणा नदिया गोद्र में नित्यानंद महाजना पति अचना महट्ट दीवेर कारणा नदिया गोद्र में नित्यानंद महाजना पति अचना महट्ट जीवेर कारणा श्रद्धवान जाना है श्रद्धवान जाना है श्रद्धवान जाना है श्रद्धवान जाना है पति अचना महट्ट जीवेर कारणा नदिया गोद्र में नित्यानंद महाजना पति अचना महट्ट जीवेर कारणा प्रभु राज्ञाय भाई मागिए भिक्षा प्रभु राज्ञाय भाई मागिए भिक्षा बोलो कृष्ण भजो कृष्ण कोरो कृष्ण शिक्षा बोलो कृष्ण भजो कृष्ण कोरो कृष्ण शिक्षा नदिया गोद्र में नित्यानंद महाजना पति अचना महत जीवेर कारणा नदिया नदिया गोद्र में नित्यानंद महाजना पति अचना महट जीवेर कारणा अपराध शून्य होय लोह कृष्ण नाम अपराध शून्य होय लोह कृष्ण नाम कृष्ण माता कृष्ण पिता कृष्ण धन प्राण कृष्ण माता कृष्ण पिता कृष्ण धन प्राण नदिया 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 गोद्र में नित्यानंद महाजना पति अचना महट जीवेर कारणा कृष्णेर संसार करो छाड़िया नाचार कृष्णेर संसार करो छाड़िया नाचार जीवे दोया कृष्ण नाम सर्वधर्म सार जीवे दोया कृष्ण नाम सर्वधर्म सार नदिया 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 गोद्रु में नित्यानंद महाजना पति अचना महट जीवेर कारणा पति अचना महट जीवेर कारणा। भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर महाराज की जय। जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय भक्ति विनोद वैष्णव ठाकुर जय भक्ति विनोद जय भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर प्रभु पदा भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर प्रभु पदा जय राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधे जय राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधे जय कृष्ण बलराम वृंदावन धाम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय वृंदावन धाम जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव प्रभुपाद। Hare Krishna. Here we are blessed to have darshan. Let us take darshan, blessings of their lordship at our tiny ashram here in Bushi, where we are observing in a small way celebrations for the pleasure of Nityananda Prabhu. And as we are having darshan, if we can go a little more closer towards their lordships, Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes, and at this time I request, yes, there are our lordships, Nitai Gauranga, and on the backdrop are Panchatattva, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Srivasadi. And next to them, we have Giriraj Govardhan. So as we are having darshan of the lordship, you can see both of them, they have their lordships, Nitai Gauranga, they have raised their hands up. They are dancing. They're very joyfully dancing and they're distributing Krishna Prema to everyone. So this is
Hare Krishna,
the
Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Could you please give me co-host access? I'm trying to spotlight the darshan. Thank you.
Sure. Yes, I think you should be able to do that now. Yes, so you can see both their we were able to see a while ago, and yes. So as we are having darshan, I have posted in the chat box this prayer along with the meaning. So please join me in offering this prayer. Nityanandam aham naumi sarvanandakaram param harinama pradam devam avadhuta shiromanim. Nityanandam aham naumi sarvanandakaram param harinama pradam devam avadhuta shiromanim. Nityanandam aham naumi sarvanandakaram param harinama pradam devam avadhuta shiromanim. This is the pranama mantra, and the translation goes as follows. I bow down to the Supreme Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who is the awarder of the highest joy to all, the bestower of the holy name and the crest jewel of all paramahamsa mendicants. Yes, with that as once again, can we have the darshan from a little distance of all their lordships, starting from, and here are some special offerings made by devotees. Dear Govind Prabhu and Ruchi Mataji, they have made these special offerings for the pleasure of Nityananda Prabhu. And on that note, taking the blessings of Prabhupada, Giriraj, Nitai Gauranga, Radha Krishna Chandra, and Prahlad Narasimha, let us continue and hear about the glories of Nityananda Prabhu. Thank you, dear Govind Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. It is mentioned by Narottam Das Thakur. He says, Brajendra Nandana Ye, Sachi Sutta Hoilo Se, Balaram Hoilo Nitai. So, who are these personalities? We are hearing about Nitai Gauranga, we are offering Pranama Mantra. Who are these personalities? These personalities are none other than Krishna and Balaram. Brajendra Nandana Yai. Krishna was known as Brajendra Nandana. He was the delight of Brajabhumi Vrindavan. Brajendra Nandana Yai. That same personality who was Brajendra Nandana, say Sachisuta Hoilo say. He has advented. Krishna, Brajendra Nandana, has advented as Sachisuta. Who is Sachisuta? Sachisuta is the son of Sachi Mata. And who is that? That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And who is Balaram? And who is Nityananda? Balaram Hoilo Nitai. This Balaram, who accompanied Krishna as his elder brother, who was whitish in complexion and was carrying Halayuddha. He was the elder brother of Krishna, Balaram. Balaram Hoilo Nitai. Balaram, he appeared. Balaram appeared as Nityananda. So these two personalities, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, as all the scriptures confirm, they are none other than the direct incarnation of Krishna and Balaram. And their activities are described. Narottam Das Thakur, our Purvacharya, he says that Papi Tapi Yatha Chilo, Hari Nama Uddharilo, Tara Sakshi Jagai Madai. So, what were the activities performed by these two personalities, Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? What were the activities? Papi Tapi Yatha Chilo, Hari Nama Uddharilo, Tara Sakshi Jagai Madai. Their activity was simply to deliver all the fallen souls, Papi Tapi Yatha Chilo, regardless of what their background was, what kind of, how low and degraded and fallen a person was. Regardless of that, they were delivered by these two personalities. Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is mentioned by Lochandas Thakur in one of his offerings. He says, Parama Karuna Pahudui Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra. Parama Karuna Pahudui Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra. Saba Avatar Sarashiromani. Saba Avatar Sarashiromani. Kevala Ananda Kanda. Kevala Ananda Kanda. Kevala Ananda Kanda. Again, very beautifully described by Lochandas Thakur. He's saying, Parama Karuna Pahudijana. These two personalities were the embodiment of supreme mercy, supreme compassion. Compassion would be the better word to use. They were the embodiment of supreme compassion. There were no other personalities who have shown as much compassion as these two personalities. No other incarnation of the Supreme Lord have shown as much incarnation, as much as these two personalities. Parama Karuna Pahudvi Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra Saba Avatar Sara Shiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda. Of all the incarnations that have come on from Krishna, Krishna's incarnations are mentioned to be like the waves of the ocean. Just like you cannot count the number of waves of the ocean, Krishna's incarnations are unlimited. Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Ananta Rupam. Ananta. Ananta means unlimited. That many incarnations. Like for example, today is also the appearance day of Varahadev. Varahadev, the boar incarnation of Lord Krishna, who rescued Mother Earth from the activities, the sinful activities of Hiranyaksha. So that Varahadev's appearance day is also celebrated. Today is Varaha Dwadashi. And tomorrow actually happens to be Nityananda Trayodashi. Trayodashi, that is. So Ekadashi, Dwadashi, Trayodashi. So Saba Avatar Tara Shiromani. Shiromani, that means these two incarnations are the crest jewel of all incarnations of the Lord. There cannot be any other incarnation who is more merciful to the fallen souls in this material world. Why? Because Papi Tapi Yathachilo Hari Nama Uddharilo. Because regardless of how fallen and sinful the living beings were, they delivered them. How? By giving them the gift of the holy name. By giving them Hari Nama Uddharilo. In Nityananda Prabhu's Pranama Mantra also we sang. Nityananda Aham Naumi Sarvananda Karamparam Harinama Pradam Devam. Harinama Pradam Devam. By distributing the holy name of Krishna. Nadiya, Nadiya, Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajana Patiyache Nama Hatta Jivera Karana. Patiyache Nama Hatta. He has opened a market of the holy name to freely distribute. Patiyache Nama Hatta Jivera Karana. For whose benefit? He is distributing to all living entities without any discrimination. And who is doing this? Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajana. This Mahajana, Nityananda Mahajana, he is distributing this holy name. Where is he doing this? Nadiya Godrume. Nadiya is a district. Nadiya, the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Mayapur. Mayapur is a town in the district of Nadiya. So there are many dvipas. So here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is referring to Nadiya Godrume. Is referring to the location where Nityananda Prabhu is performing his activities. So Lochandas Thakur says that Papi Tapi Yatha Chilo Harinama Uddharil. So what is the proof of them delivering the most fallen? You're saying they're very merciful. Is there any proof, any example? Yes, he says, Tara Sakshi Jagai Madhai. Tara Sakshi Jagai Madhai. So he's saying, so we can see these pictures of how ecstatically they would perform Harinam Sankirtan and distribute freely the holy name, invite everybody to come and participate in singing and dancing the holy name of Krishna. This is darshan of their lordships, Nitai Gauranga at ISKCON Bangalore. On as you're seeing the screen, on our right side is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and on our left side is Nityananda Prabhu. Both of them are raising their hands. They have introduced a method of worship of the Supreme Lord, which is so joyous, which is so celebratory. Who doesn't like celebration? Who doesn't like singing? Who doesn't like dancing? Who doesn't like feasting? And this is the way of self-realization which these two lordships have introduced in this fallen age of Kali. There is no other way that is possible. People are very dull-headed, and they're very they don't have any the strength of austerity or the power of sense control, mind control to take up the other forms of yoga like the Ashtanga yoga or the different yogas prescribed for different yugas. So in this Kali Yuga, as a special discount to the conditioned souls who are very fallen, they have introduced the most easiest and most pleasing form of self-realization. So this is one incident. Like this, there are many incidents. These activities of Nityananda Prabhu are highlighted in the literature, in the Vedic literatures called as Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavata, and many others. So let us try to understand a little bit about this pastime. So there were these two brothers, as you can see, two of them who are on the ground and who are facing the vrat of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu is trying to stop Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what is this scene all about, and how did this unfold? It is very interesting to note. So what was happening was Nityananda Prabhu, after he was born in a place called Ekachakra Dham, he went on to accompany as a brahmachari assistant to a sannyasi, and he was on a tour of all the places of pilgrimage. And then in his youth, he joined Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Mayapur Dham, and under the direction, he accepted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his master, and under the direction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was asked along with the Haridas Thakur to go to every household and request them to chant the holy name of Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had sent him. You go and make people chant Hare Krishna. That was his service. So as he was going along with Haridas Thakur, they saw there was a marketplace. You can see a marketplace. There is a vendor. He's selling some goods. So in the marketplace, there was some commotion. Some people had gathered, and there was some shouting and somebody pushing, pulling, something was going on. So Nityananda Prabhu inquired, what's going on? Why this is? So they said, oh, there are two rogues, this Jagai and Madhai. They're very, although they are born in Brahmana families, but these two are the most degraded personalities around in this place. Because they are born in Zamindar, wealthy family, these people are simply into drinking, they're simply into woman hunting, and they come to the marketplace and create a big ruckus, and they're into committing so many fraud, So these people are thugs and rogues, and they're creating some, after getting drunk, these people are creating some commotion. So this is what Nityananda Prabhu got news that what was going on. So then he thought to himself that here is a person who is so degraded. He has become so degraded. And this is a symptom of Kali Yuga. Everybody is degraded. Kalau Sudra Sambhava. In Kali Yuga, everybody is degraded. Kalau Shudra Sambhava. So he was, and here were examples of people who were the most degraded. So he thought, my Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has asked me to deliver the holy name to everyone. And it will be so wonderful if I can deliver these two people. If these two people, if they can chant the holy name of Krishna, then my master, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glories will be magnified. So he was thinking that when people will learn that the most fallen people in Mayapur have been delivered, then that will glorify my master so much. So let me make an attempt and deliver these people. That was his determination. So we can see from the life of the life of Nityananda Prabhu, the wonderful example that he's setting. A disciple is always uh, uh, making an attempt to glorify his spiritual master. He is not eager to glorify himself, because he understands that whatever he is, whatever knowledge he has got, whatever detachment that he has, whatever sense control, mind control, whatever blessings that he has got, it is simply by the blessings of the spiritual master. And therefore, he devotes his life in glorifying the spiritual master, in serving the spiritual master. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangum langayate girim, yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Guru Deenataranam. One day, so here a disciple is offering respects to the spiritual master. Mukam karoti vachalam, one by whose blessings even a muka, a dumb person, he can become the greatest orator. Pangum langayate girim, when a lame person can cross over mountains. Unto Vande Shri Guru Deenataranam, the spiritual master who is the deliverer of the conditioned souls unto his lotus feet. Vande Shri Guru Deenataranam, the disciple is offering obeisances. So this is the mood. A disciple is not eager how I can surpass my spiritual master and become more glorious than him. No. A disciple is always eager to carry out the order of the spiritual master, eternally remain a humble servant of the spiritual master. And his efforts are always towards how to glorify the spiritual master. And we can see Nityananda Prabhu was thinking like that. How I can glorify, if I deliver this fallen Jagai Madai, then the glory of my Mahaprabhu will be spread far and wide. So let me try. That was his attempt. Whether you are successful or not, but when you endeavor in that direction, with this attitude, the spiritual master becomes pleased with you. And by his blessings, your efforts will be successful. Your efforts will be glorious and successful. Materially, whether they're successful or not, because you have won the recognition of the spiritual master, therefore your endeavors are successful. This is very important to remember. So in that spirit and that mood, Nityananda Prabhu approached these two people and he said that, my dear sir, you please chant Hare Krishna. And these two people, because they were intoxicated, and when you are in intoxicated condition, you're not able to appreciate any good advice. As it is, when you are in your normal senses, if somebody is very sinful and foolish, if you give them some good advice, they will not appreciate. As it is, there is a nice verse which Prabhupada uses to highlight this, that Murkha Upadesha, I forget that. But the essence of that is that a foolish person will not appreciate the advice when given, even if it is in his best interest. So they became very angry. They said, who is this person who is coming and disturbing us? What is this Hare Krishna? What is this Hare Nam? We want to do what I want to do. You don't come and disturb us. Go get lost. So they just shooed him away. But he persisted. He said, no, you please chant. So because they saw him persisting, and they thought this person is simply coming and disturbing their peace, and they wanted to continue their drinking and enjoying with women, and this person is simply coming and disturbing. So they wanted to get rid of this person. So what they did, they were drinking liquor out of a mud pot. They were drinking out of a mud pot. That mud pot they threw on the head of Nityananda Prabhu to injure him. And he was hurt and he was bleeding. And this news reached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Nityananda Prabhu was trying to preach and request these people to chant, and they have in return, they have injured him, they have hurt him, and he has fallen down bleeding. When this news reached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was enraged. He was enraged. How dare these people? They cause harm to my dear devotees. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is none other than Krishna. And Nityananda Prabhu is none other than Balaram. Balaram is not an ordinary person. He is the possessor of unlimited strength. But because they're playing the role of, in this Kali Yuga, they're playing this role of Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu did not take any offense. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took offense. He did not like that his devotees are harmed and hurt. So he immediately rushed. And he can see his finger, he invoked the Sudarshana Chakra. The same Sudarshana Chakra by which he killed Shalva, by which Krishna killed Shishupala, and so many other demons by which the Sudarshana Chakra was employed by Lord Krishna to kill all the demons. Krishna invoked the Sudarshana Chakra to immediately kill these rascals. And at that time, this scene, what we are seeing in the picture is depicting. At that time, Nityananda Prabhu is falling at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and is restraining him. No, Mahaprabhu, no, please don't kill them. In this incarnation, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have taken a vow that you will not kill any demonic personalities. In this incarnation, you have taken a vow to deliver. You are known as Patita Pavana. So please do not kill these personalities, and kindly shower your mercy on these people. So when Nityananda Prabhu was restraining Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and begging for the deliverance of Jagai and Madhai from the vrat of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jagai and Madhai, they became shocked to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rushing so angrily towards them, invoking Sudarshan Chakra, and they thought they are going to die any moment. And they could see that because of Nityananda Prabhu, their life was saved, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had restrained himself. They immediately understood that this is not an ordinary person, and they fell at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and they begged for forgiveness. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he in turn responded by saying that because my dear Nityananda Prabhu has prayed on your behalf, today you both are saved. You must promise to me that you will immediately give up all your sinful activities. You will give up all your sinful activities and you will take up the chanting of the holy names. And both of them, they immediately falling down at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, they promised that yes, from now onwards we will not engage in any of these sinful activities. And in fact, they became completely reformed, and they went on to become great acharyas, and they went on to spread the holy names. So here we can see, by the even though Nityananda Prabhu was injured, but he did not take any offense, and he rather he was praying for their protection and for their deliverance through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the reason. This is one of the reasons why Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are referred to as Parama Karuna. They're very, very compassionate. They don't take any offense. They don't take any offense. Rather, they're always thinking about the welfare of others, even at the expense of their own health. He was injured and he was bleeding, but he did not take any offense. So, which is why it is said by in another. It is said by Lochandas Thakur. He's saying, "Dekho ore bhai, tribhuvane nai, emona doyal data. Dekho re bhai, tribhuvane nai, emona doyal data. Pashipaki jure, pashana vidare, Pashupakhi jure, pashana vidare, shuni jandra guna gatha, shuni jandra guna gatha, shuni jandra guna gatha." So here Lochandas Thakur is saying, "Dekho ore bhai, tribhuvane nai." My dear brothers, please pay attention. In the entire three worlds, Tribhuvana. Tribhuvana means the lower planetary system, middle planetary system, and higher planetary system. Tribhuvana. In the entire three planetary system, Tribhuvanena imona doyala data. There is no one who is more merciful than these two personalities, Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so wonderful are their magnanimous qualities that it is said, Pashupaki chure, Pashana vidare, Pashupaki jure, Pashana vidare, Shuni Jandra Gunagata. By hearing the wonderful qualities of Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is happening? Extraordinary things are happening. What are the extraordinary things? Even Pashu Pakshi, animals and birds, they are crying. They are crying. Their heart is melting to see the compassion of Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it is said, Pashana Vidhare. Pashana Vidhare means the stone which is so hard, the stone is melting. The stone is melting simply by hearing the glorious qualities of Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is Lochandas Thakur's affirmation in the song Parama Karuna. So that is these are some glimpses of the personality of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu, he is the origin of the Guru Tattva. Guru Tattva means he empowers the living entities in the spiritual world to come to the material world and perform the duties of the spiritual master and enlighten the living entities on what is their purpose of their life. So this empowerment of the distribution of the true understanding of the Vedic literatures is done by Nityananda Prabhu. He is the origin of the Guru Tattva. Balaram is the origin of the Guru Tattva. Likewise, Nityananda Prabhu is the origin of Guru Tattva, which is why it is said, Nayam Atma Balahinena Labhyaha. What is the meaning of that? Which means, Nayam Atma Balahinena Labhyaha. One cannot understand the self. One cannot understand the existence of the soul, existence of the super soul, without Nayam Atma Balahinena Labhyaha, without the spiritual strength, Bala. Some people, they mistake this word Bala to be material strength. So they say, if you have to become spiritually awakened, you must play football and you should build your muscles, and then you should eat meat and you should become strong. Then you can develop self-realization, because it is said, Nayam Atma Balahinena Bala. This Bala means physical strength. No. This Bala is not physical strength. This Bala is referring to spiritual strength from Balaram, the source. Balaram, who is the source of all spiritual strength. Unless he bestows his blessings, one cannot awaken his self. Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhyaha. One cannot awaken the self by any amount of great erudition. Na medhaya bhauna shrutena. Na medhaya, you may be very, very intelligent, materially very intelligent. Bahuna shrutena, you may be very scholarly, but without the blessings of Nityananda Prabhu or Balaram, there is no spiritual strength. One cannot appreciate the existence of one's true self. And that is how the entire in the entire world, everybody is simply drowning in an ocean of anxieties, different anxieties. Everybody is having their own anxieties. Just yesterday we heard many countries are warning of an impending war, and they're asking to evacuate. They're telling all their citizens to leave Ukraine, because they're saying anytime Russia will invade and there will be a war. So there is so much of tension. And like this, there is one or the other thing unfolding in one or the other place. And constantly there is anxiety, which we are trying to mitigate, but we are all failing to overcome this anxiety. And Prahlad Maharaj in the Srimad Bhagavatam, when his father asked him, just like our children, we ask our children, what did you learn in school? What did they teach you? So then the children will say, I learned ABCD, or I learned multiplication. So this is what Prahlad Maharaj replied to his father. He said, Tat sadumanye asuravarya dehnam tada samudvigna diyam asadgrahat. Asadgrahat. He said, Tat sadumanye asuravarya dehinam. He did not call his father as father. He called his father as, oh, best of all demons. Tat sadumanya asuravarya. Asuravarya. You're an asura. His father was an asura because he never surrendered to the Supreme Lord. So he said, he didn't call his father as father. 5-year-old boy is speaking like this to his father. He said, Tat sadumanya asuravarya dehinam sada samudvigna diyam asadgrahat. He said that a person who identifies with his body, sada samudvigna diyam asadgrahat. So long a person identifies himself with the body and conducts himself in all material activities, he shall always be submerged in anxiety. This is the observation. One cannot be free from anxiety, whatever be the anxiety. One or the other anxiety is always embarrassing us, harassing us. But for somebody to overcome this anxiety, he has to develop, he has to, the foundation of all this anxiety is because asat grahat, we are accepting something which is false to be true. Asat, asat means that which is not sat, that which is not eternal, that which is not factual. What is that? We are accepting this body to be all in all. We are accepting everything in connection with the body as mine. And we are thinking, by my intelligence, I can solve all the problems in this world. I can solve all the problems in my life. Everything is revolving around my intelligence, my strength, me, my friends. With the help of my family, with the help of my resources, I will tackle all the problems. Everything is centered around a false conception of me. And so long one has this false conception, one will be forced to suffer from anxieties. And then he says, Hitvatmapatam grahmandakupam vanam gato yad dharimashrayeta. Dharimashrayeta. So if one wants to overcome this, then he must take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Which is why it is said, without spiritual strength, one cannot overcome this asat perception, this material perception of life. If one has to overcome, it requires blessings and grace of Nityananda Prabhu. Nayam Atma Balahinena Labhyaha. Krishna is saying, Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. When the body is slain, the soul is not slain. You, the soul, remains as you are. For developing this perception, this does not come to any Tom, Dick, and Harry. It comes to one who carries, who is blessed with the grace of the Supreme Lord, who is blessed with the grace of Nityananda Prabhu. So that is the these are some wonderful qualities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and for performing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with his associates, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar Pandit, Srivas Thakur, they have inaugurated this Sankirtana movement, and we are seeing in from Mayapur, the land where the Sankirtana movement started. Today, this Hare Krishna, chanting of the Hare Krishna, this Sankirtana movement has spread all over the world, and it will spread to every town and village, and under the direct supervision of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, because it is the prediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu where he is saying that Prithivete ache yata nagaradi grama sarvatra prachara hoibe moranama. So this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction, where he is saying Prithivete ache, wherever, in every town and village, they will be chanting of my holy name. Sarvatra prachara hoibe moranama. And following in the footsteps of Nityananda Prabhu, we should try to conduct ourselves and become servants of the spiritual master, as Nityananda Prabhu very wonderfully demonstrated how he was so eager to glorify his spiritual master. Likewise, we should also be glorious. And when we are in this mood, then all empowerment will come and all blessings will come, and our spiritual life will be very, very successful. On this note, there was once Prabhupada, when he was he was visiting devotees as they were conducting a bullock cart Sankirtan party. Let me just share some glimpses of this. Nice for you all to see. Let us go. Yes, it's here. Once again. So this bullock cart Yes. So you can see devotees are these are concrete bulls, so wonderful bulls, and these bulls are carrying the deities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, and the devotees are going performing Sankirtana. So like this, there was a Bhakti Vedanta bullock cart Sankirtan party, and Prabhupada came to inspect to see what these devotees are doing, because Prabhupada had instructed them to go from village to village in India uh, uh, on bullock cart, carrying Nitai Gauranga deities and perform Sankirtana and spread the glories of the holy name. So when he came near these, he came near the bullock cart, and he was very pleased. Prabhupada was very pleased to see the deities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu on the bullock cart, and he was standing next to the bulls, and he saw these bulls were they have been traveling a long distance and they have been carrying Nitai Gauranga. So Prabhupada was very pleased with these bulls, and he was patting these bulls, and he was nicely caressing them, rubbing them. And then Srila Prabhupada said, because these bulls, they have carried Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because they have carried Nitai Gauranga, this will be their last birth. Next life, they will go back to Godhead. So you can see, even even the tiniest services rendered by a jiva who is not even in a human body, a bull, was benedicted, because this is the supreme compassion of their lordships, Nitai Gauranga, and the compassion of their representative, the Acharya, Swami Prabhupada, on anybody who came forward to render their services in propagating the Sankirtan movement. So you can see how merciful the Vaishnavas who are serving Nitai Gauranga are. They benedicted these bulls by saying, because these bulls are carrying Nitai Gauranga, this will be their last life. Next life, they will go back to Godhead. So that is the supreme benediction that one can attain simply by engaging in the service of the spiritual master, those who are carrying out the mission of Nitai Gauranga. That is the benediction that is available. And let me, on this note, let me share with all of you some glimpses of how this festival is celebrated in our temple here in ISKCON Bangalore. I seem to have. So the devotees, they arrange for a wonderful, yes.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Shri Nitai Gauranga ki jai.
Hare Hare.
Abhishekam is being offered to their lordships by the devotees. Dugdha Snana, different kinds of milk, curd, honey, jaggery water, fruit juices.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
So Abhishekam was followed by Arati, and there is a special feast that is offered on that particular day for the pleasure of their lordships, and then all the devotees would partake of that wonderful feast on that particular day. So that is yes, Manish, I'm seeing your note. I wish I could sing this bhajan, but I think I at this point I do not know. Maybe sometime I'll definitely give it a try. It's so wonderful to sing these bhajans. So on that note, let us chant 108 times the Hare Krishna mantra before we close for the day. Please join me in chanting 108 times.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakti. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare.
So that was 108 times. So on that note, before we close, as I had mentioned, that it also happens to be the appearance day of Lord Varaha, we can see Krishna has got unlimited incarnations. Balaram is one of his first expansions. From Balaram comes the Chaturvyaha, Vasudeva, Sankarshna, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and from this Sankarshna comes the Narayana. From the Narayana comes the Dvitiya Chaturvyaha, the second set of Sankarshna, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva. And then from the second Sankarshna comes Mahavishnu. From the Mahavishnu comes the Purushavataras, Garbhodaka. So like this, there is a whole scheme of arrangement of so many incarnations. And Varaha Dev is one of them. He came to deliver Mother Earth from the exploits of this Hiranyaksha, who was the brother of Hiranyakashipu. And these pastimes are described wonderfully in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So please join me in offering the Pranama Mantra. I have shared. Did I share that? No, I have not shared that. Okay, let me share that now for all of your benefit. This is from the Dashavatara Stotra, written by, where did we go? Jayadev Goswami. Yes, I think now you should be able to see it. I'm sharing this in the chat box for everybody to read. Vasati dashana shikhare dharani tava lagna shashini kalanka kaleva nimagna keshavadhrita shukara rupa jai jagadish hare jaya jagadish hare jai jagadish hare. So that is the pranama mantra of Varahadev. We are the world is also observing tomorrow. The world is celebrating the Valentine's Day. So there are so many advertisements, promos on how so many people taking this occasion to show their love, express their love. So here again, we can take lesson from Nityananda Prabhu on properly perceiving what is love and what is lust. So it is said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, very beautifully described and in a very simple way. Atmendriya Priti Icha Tarabali Kama Krishnendriya Priti Vancha Dhare Prema Nama. Atmendriya Icha Tarabali Kama Krishnendriya Priti Vancha Dhare Prema Nama. Which means any activity which is performed for pleasing one's own senses. Any activity which is performed for pleasing one's own senses. Tarabali Kama. Atmendriya. Indriya means one's senses. Whose senses? Atmendriya. Not Krishnendriya. Atmendriya. Any activity which is performed for pleasing one's own senses. A man loves a woman. Why he loves a woman? Or a woman loves a man. Why? Because through that man or through that woman, I can enjoy my senses. I can satisfy my senses. The objective is not to please that person. The objective is how through that person I can satisfy my senses. And that is why we see if my sense enjoyment is disturbed, then I don't want to be in that relationship with that person. Because ultimately what is important is my sense enjoyment. This is why it is said, Atmendriya Priti Icha. Tarabali Kama. This is called lust. This is not love. And what is love? Krishnendriya Priti Icha Dhare Prema Nama. When you engage in satisfying Krishna's senses, Krishnendriya, Krishna's Indriya, Krishnendriya Priti Icha Dhare Prema Nama. When you engage in satisfying Krishna's senses, like we saw today, devotees have nicely done alankara for the Lord. Because the feeling is how I can decorate Krishna very nicely. Ordinarily, everybody is interested to decorate themselves. I should wear nice dress, nice jewelry, nice makeup so that I can be attractive. Everybody's attention can be on me. This is everybody's desire. How I can be the center of everybody's attention. So, but what are devotees thinking? Devotees is thinking, I do not want to be center of attention. Lord should be my Lord. He should be center of attention. He should have the best of dresses, best of ornaments, best of alankar, best of bhoga. The best food stuff should be offered for him, for his enjoyment. So when you think of satisfying Krishna's senses, that is prema. But when you want to do the same thing for your senses, that becomes kama. And we could see Nityananda Prabhu exhibiting a wonderful example. His whole life was dedicated in serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although he is Balaram himself, he is Supreme Lord, Balaram. But he is showing by his example how to live a life of devotion, how to live a life of Krishna Prema. All his life, he was propagating the holy name of Krishna. He was singing and dancing in great ecstasy, glorifying Krishna. teaching people how to serve Krishna. That was his life. And we can take inspiration from his life, and also likewise devote ourselves in pleasing Krishna, beginning with chanting the holy name of Krishna, hearing Krishna Katha, and so on and so on. And in that way become a recipient of Nityananda's mercy, as he is known as Harinama Pradam Devam Avadhuta Shiromanim Nityananda Aham Nomi Sarvananda Karamparam. He is a Sarva Ananda. He is a bestower of the supreme joy of devotion. He is a bestower. He will bestow when he is pleased with the devotees who are sincerely engaged in serving his mission. Then he will bestow. Sarvananda Karamparam Harinama Pradam Devam Avadhuta Shiromanim. So on that note, we'll close for the day. If there are any questions, any comments, we can discuss. Yes, Isha.
Prabhuji, how did Lord Nityananda Prabhu meet Lord Chaitanya Prabhu?
So there is a detailed description of how he was wandering from one place to another place as he was accompanying a sannyasi. As a young boy, the sannyasi had come to his home, and as he was leaving, he asked the parents to give their only son. And the parents were heartbroken. Hadai Pandit was his father. But because it was a sannyasi he was asking, they couldn't say no. So they departed with a very heavy heart. And Nityananda Prabhu accompanied this sannyasi, and then he was touring many places. And then he came to know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his activities. And in the town of Mayapur, the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came and he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because both of them are brothers, they're Krishna and Balaram. So when he met Nityananda Prabhu, he was overjoyed and he embraced him and welcomed him to his association. And ever since, he was completely devoted to serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had given him the service of preaching in Bengal. He told him that you should go, you should be in Bengal and you should tour all the towns and villages and distribute and conduct the preaching activities and distribute the holy name. So that is how he was, he took that instruction, and he and his wife also. His wife is Janavi Ma. She was a spiritual master herself. And both of them were fully involved in conducting the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these are all some activities described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. We'll meet again next week. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Jai Haribol, Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.